Hey friends, welcome back to Content Creation Challenge. I'm Elena Motonono and I help online language teachers build and grow sustainable businesses that do not exhaust them, but actually energize them and make their audience enthusiastic as well. Today, in this lesson, I would like to talk about a very important point of building or creating rather your content, and that is building connections with your audience. And you don't build connections when you just regurgitate tips and ideas that you find on Google or maybe in grammar books. And I used to do a lot of that, and it never really worked for me. It was only when I began thinking about where my ideal client is. And we did some of that exercises in the previous lessons. But when I began thinking, who is my ideal client and where they are, then things began to shift. But just knowing or even imagining where my ideal client might be is not enough. You need to bring yourself out there because the connection is not going to be built if all you're doing is bestowing your advice on people and sounding quite patronizing in a way. How can we do that differently? Because that's what happens usually. Teachers go on social media and they're like, now I'm going to teach you everything you need to know. And that's patronizing, and it usually creates the opposite reaction. You are not able to build connection because all you hear is somebody telling you that the mistakes you make or what you're doing wrong or how you should be doing this or that. So in this video, I would like to take you to the foundation of connection building. And it's kind of scary when you think about it, but it's also really empowering because by doing that, by putting yourself out there, you are able to reach the people that you didn't think you would reach. And these people would actually become your loyal followers, and later they will become clients. So let's go to the paper, and we are going to need to look at the at our previous video doodle. And if you haven't watched it, I invite you to watch it right now. But if not, you can do it a little later. But in that doodle, we were creating this ideal client wheel. And, there are lots of ways to represent your ideal client. You can talk about the avatar, you can talk about your dream client portrait or whatever. You can write a little essay to your ideal client. But I created this wheel because visually it kind of helps me remember what are the most important things for me and what do I want to see in my ideal client. So we resonate with each other. And when you have that in front of you, it will be easy now to, well, easy from the standpoint of putting it together, but it will be easier in a sense of building themes for your social media or your podcast to know in which direction you will go, not just go anywhere or go and teach grammar tips or other things. But even if you do teach grammar, or even if you do teach confidence, you will focus on these areas because they are important to you and they are important to your ideal client. This is where you are going to have the point of connection. Now, it does not mean that when your ideal client comes, this is what they're going to be like. Obviously, we understand that we're human beings and we have different things that we can put on our description list, so to speak. But these will be important things. These are the deal breakers, so to speak. And over time, as you start creating content, you will find yourself adding more to this wheel. But these are the basics. So let's look now. We're going to look at how you actually build connection, how you are able to communicate with your audience in such a way that they say, this person gets me. Often when I write something and people send me feedback either to my newsletter or my podcast, people say it's like you were reading my thoughts or reading my mind. How does that happen? And it happens, it doesn't happen sporadically, but it happens because I have taken the time to think, okay, what is my ideal client like, right? What they're like, and where are we the same? How are we maybe overlapping? Where are our interests and our passions overlap? So let's do this again. And we'll just pretty much go over our previous doodle where we talked about the important things. What are the important things for me? So the first one, of course, I want my ideal client to invest in growth. And we talked about it doesn't necessarily mean that they're paying me money, but they also understand and taking responsibility and ownership for their results. Because sometimes people can come in, they have these expectations that their coach is going to solve their problems for them, and they don't now need to do any work. So when people say, okay, this growth, this is my growth, and I'm investing in it, and I'm invested now, that's why I love this word, to invest, not just I'm paying money. My ideal client is not somebody who pays. The ideal client for me is somebody who invests, because when you invest, you take ownership for your results. It's not just a word, it's also your time investment and your emotional investment. The second one is it's important for me that my ideal client is brave, takes risks, and tries new things. What are other things that are important? Willing to be wrong. It's very difficult for me to work with people that come in and they say, okay, this is how I want to be coached. Sometimes people will say in my free session, they will come in, they say, well, right now I am working on my website, and all I need to do from you, what I need from you is to tell me what are my next steps are. and and I want to say, well, why are you building a website? But of course, the person's already investing in a different kind of thing, and they're not willing to be wrong. And that makes it very difficult. And usually I can't work with a person that comes in with their own agenda and then they say, well, Father, can you bless me or something? Mother. Okay, so somebody who asks questions, not questioning in a way of doubting and despair, like, oh, am I ever going to do this? But questioning, oh, so the thoughts that I had, the decision that I made, to build a website, what if it's not at the right time? What if it's not the right time for me to do that? Or what if I could just put it off and try something else? So you seek and you trust the process, and the process is usually messy. Sometimes people come and they say, well, I have such a beautiful name for my business and that is it. And my thought is, well, why do you think that this is something you're going to be doing? Maybe you want to try something different. And usually people will just continue. If people continue in this, like, oh no, like I am already attached to this website that I have, or this brand name that I created. And I let them, I show to them that if they stay stuck with it, they might come to the point in the future where they say, oh wow, I guess I didn't realize that. But I sometimes let them, just go and discover that they need to be wrong sometimes, and it's okay. Self-compassion. And it doesn't mean, friends, it doesn't mean that the person that comes to you already needs to possess all of these things, but they need to be at least curious and open. Like if somebody comes in and says, I just want you to tell me what to put on my website. This is going to be very restrictive for me. I will try to ask the person, try to dig deeper, but if they are not willing to go deeper, then obviously we won't be able to work too long, even the person will be saying, well, I'll just go and work on my website by myself. And then mindful and aware. Okay, so as I am going to color this, because as you can say, I'm just writing these things in the top, because now, if you didn't know that, we are going to finish that by writing it in, filling it out, each of these segments of our wheel. And here's what we're going to do now. Now that you wrote down the things that are important for you, for your client, right, or for your audience, it's important that they invest in growth and they understand. Now we're going to build connections. Of course, we build connections on the paper first. And the way we do that is by asking ourselves, how am I investing in growth? So everything that you will write here right now will be your story. This will be your own investment in growth, your own brave things and risks that you take, your willingness to be wrong. Are you willing to be wrong? Are you learning? How are you learning? Seeking and trusting, self-compassion. Are you mindful and aware? And so it does not necessarily mean that you just need to get an A in each of these areas. There might be some areas like self-compassion that might be really difficult for you. So write for yourself, okay, self-compassion is difficult because I believe this and this, but I am committed to be more self-compassionate, and I want to be more self-compassionate because I know that with that, I'm able to achieve more. Because when I beat myself up, I feel ashamed and I feel doubtful, and that just keeps me stuck. And so just writing your story for each of these sections is a powerful exercise that I will show you how you can use it then to create connection on social media. So now I've been writing here in each section, and I will continue to do that. And as you continue to go through your wheel and take a look at the things that you really appreciate about your ideal client, go back and think about, okay, where do I show up? How do I show up in all these areas? And what do I need to do to grow? How my growth is stifled when I don't invest, or when I try to minimize my risk, or when I try to be safe. How is this helping or not helping me? What can I do about this? This exercise is so powerful. Once you work through the entire wheel, you will be more mindful and aware of where you are, and you will also see how you can build bridges to where your client is. So for example, if your audience right now, they believe that investment is good, but they're afraid because they don't know, is it going to pay off, or how is it going to help them? So when you practice investing, for instance, in yourself, how do you feel? Do you put yourself into a situation where you invest? And how do you do that? What types of investments are easy for you? What types of investments are harder for you? When do you invest in something that that actually maybe does not show the right results for you right now, but then over time you recognize, oh, that investment was actually worth it because I am today where I wanted to be, or I couldn't have gotten here without that investment, and so forth. And then you also taking risks, or maybe being more mindful, like what keeps you from looking for mindfulness, or being even more mindful on your journey as a parent, or more mindful as someone who is running a business, and so forth. Like, think about your audience, where they are, and these things that are important to you. You want to bring them up in your content through the lenses of your niche. Obviously, language learning, or teaching people to be more confident, or teaching people how to write, or take exams successfully and other things. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And if you want to dig deeper into this work and ask me questions about your business and really combine creativity with building a business, I have monthly Q&A question answers sessions available. And there's information in the description where you can sign up and receive the link. And I am looking forward to seeing you there. We're going to usually do a doodle, and then I will give you a little bit of inspiration and maybe answer some of your burning questions about your business and how you can shift your mindset in order to get different results. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and I'm wishing you a wonderful day.